joining us back up with the Financial Rio. It's another opportunity for us to have a conversation about money, especially for millennials, boomers, Gen X, and even Gen Zs. I think I covered everybody. So ultimately, my name is Lawrence Delva-Gonzalez, and I'm always joined by my co-host, lovely Merdelus, as well as Atlanta Alsan, unless she's actually in a relationship. So as we see lately, she hasn't been around yet again. You know where she be at? She be in the gym trying to get right tight for her man. That's about it. I don't want to get into the details. Just call her out when you hear her name again. And please shout her, write in the comments, let her know that it's not cool anymore. It's just not cool. We're going to call her out. That's what it is. So yeah, that's how I'm going to start. That's how, no filters, no edits.
Oh my goodness. Well, hi everyone. My name is Lovely. Atlanta is occasionally more busy than usual. I'll say it that way. Getting her gym life together, but she'll be on at some point of this episode, hopefully. And if she's not, then like Lauren said, blast her on Instagram. Just blast her, tag her. It's Atlanta, and then tell her that, what's up, what's going on. We don't hear from you.
Yeah, I think okay. You know what? I might actually sell that to people. Like, we're not in the same place. I think sometimes when you hear podcasts,
we don't even know what's going on.
People think that everybody's in the same room and maybe they're looking at each other. They're doing like a breakfast club type of scenario. Nah. Let me set the stage here. We're three different first generation Haitian Americans. Like, we started off quote unquote broke, poor, whatever. Po. I even know about money. That's how when you're poor, you don't even know there's levels. You just know that you're just poor. Like I lived off of free lunch, reduced price lunch, free. As long as I could get to school on time, I was getting free breakfast and free lunch. And that's all I had. I didn't even have the extra money to get the little extra hot dog, sausage links and stuff like that. But let's be honest, a lot of people that ate those things, you see where they're at now with their lives. So I'm just saying, they're toxic. Just call it what it is. But ultimately, just to go around and tell you guys that we're not in the same place, not in the same time. But we are in the same time zone. We are on the Eastern Coast. I'm in the DMV. I'm basically like 20, 30 minutes away from Washington, D.C. It's not that far, but I guess I can't really claim D.C. living. But ultimately, I'm in the suburbs, that part of D.C. where it looks like the shadows. Like, you remember the Lion King when it's like, hey, do not go there. That's Upper Marlboro. That's where I live. All right, do not go there.
Lawrence is out here living in the shadows, yeah, boys.
Yeah, it's in the shadows. It's in the boonies, but it's the suburbs. It's pretty, it's inexpensive to live here. It's still pretty great, and you're still metro accessible. And the other ladies are in different places. I'm telling where Atlanta is, and you can tell everybody what you are. Atlanta is actually in Florida, South Florida area, the metropolitan South Florida. That's a little bit more Democrat than it is Republican. Just like it's usually kind of steered that way. Kind of weird, but it's what it is. So she lives, you know what? I don't know. I don't associate with poverty anymore. So I don't know. She lives in an impoverished location. Where she live at? What city?
Atlanta. I'm pretty sure because I went to her house before. I believe it's West Palm. Yeah, West Palm Beach, but I don't know exactly the area. It's West Palm.
We don't have to pinpoint it down. Like, it's not so SAT TV here.
Yeah.
She lives. She's in the West Palm area. So I'm originally from Miami,
and
Florida.
She's in a place that's in transition. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's gentrifying. Yeah, she's gentrifying it. She's the gentrifier. Just like she's the enemy the entire time. So what's up? Where you live at, Lovely?
I actually live in about 20 minutes from this, kind of like Law, in a suburb near a city. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. We're about 20 minutes away from Boston, give and take, in a town called Waltham, which is pretty cool. I really like it. Really calm and really nice. It's really, 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 really nice, actually. Really quiet, really amazing.
Yeah, I think my wife went up there and she said she loves the area, and she had a sense of pure bouginess or bourgeoisie, as I like to call it. When she kind of felt like she needed to put a mint coat on. She's like, I picked her up from the airport. I felt like I was beneath her, something like, for some reason. Like, I dirtied herself. She came back in the car. It's a Toyota Sentra. She just felt different. She's like, I don't like this. Like, this should be like an Uber or something. I'm like, this is your car. It's not even my car. Why are you mad? Like she just had the feeling that she just downgraded her life because of me.
I can't. No,
I had to tell her that we can't afford Boston. Just so you know, we cannot afford Boston.
Man, but you guys should definitely come to visit. Visit again, do a good tour. There's so much to do in Boston, guys. Like so much. We went to this place actually this past weekend. I went to this place called Rockport, and it had the beautiful sea. We went into like an excursion. If you do not know, Rockport actually has all the granite, and the streets of London actually those pavements and granites actually come from Rockport. And I learned that over the weekend. So when you're walking in London's floors, all those materials are actually from Rockport, and some of the streets here in Boston as well.
So y'all robbed London?
No. London robbed us, okay? Like they
London robbed extreme us. Bouginess right there. Extreme bouginess,
but it's really beautiful. Like when I tell you, it was breathtakingly beautiful. We went on like it's not a big mountain, but it's just a little bit of mountain. I had amazing seafood. The lobster is amazing. So you guys have to come.
You talking about cobblestone roads? You talking about like cobblestone?
I think that's what I'm gonna call. What did she call them? I recorded part of it.
Hey, Europe is savage for that. Like it's straight. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like there's cities like Strasbourg, straight up cobblestone roads everywhere. But it is just to let you guys know, it's pure hardcore hell.
Sadly, people died. Okay, like people died, and like literally being able, because they had to pass the sea. So when you get those materials, like the water overtook some of the people, and people drowned.
Oh, that's nice. So it's like not blood diamonds, but blood streets. I like it.
Yeah, that's it sounds so depressing. It's so
somebody had to sacrifice for this luxury.
Yeah. So it was like, but it was beautiful. I can't wait to actually go to the summer, because you get to see more. But it's really, really nice. And there's so much, like I feel here, there's like a culture of family. So they have activities. There's a lot of museums. You can go to like the Boston Tea Party, North End, South End. There's a lot of history. And when just walking down the streets of everyday Boston is very like, it feels, hey, okay, there's some things here that I can learn and I can experience. I haven't really explored like Black Boston yet. So I'm still trying to like, they have this whole week of like Black, something Boston
restaurant week, like restaurant week, like a small business week and stuff like that.
Yes, those type of things. And so I'm kind of like taking my chance. I went to like a market where they had like all the small businesses come out. I will not shout out this Jamaican restaurant because the food was not hot and it was not good.
Hey, but Northeast, let's be honest, Northeast Caribbean folks ain't right.
They're not.
The flavors ain't what it is. You know, it ain't popping like that.
Haitian I'm from food, Florida. So guys,
even Haitian food up here, we're like, what flavors did you use to make?
Yeah, we got the Caribbeans that did not know how to, like, I don't know what to call them, but the Caribbeans up Northeast, guys, sorry to hear, it's not where it's at. Y'all not popping. There was one restaurant, and she shut down. So
it's a shame. It's actually a shame. I don't think they know that. I think they they fired, but I'm like, nah. It's not what
I grew up in Florida, so no.
We get real place. We get real place of food. You know, like straight up $10 plate will probably kill you. I'm just saying, it's a pound of. It's literally it's heavy on the hands.
Solid.
It's heavy on the hands.
Yeah, I spent like $35-$40 on a fish recently, and it was just like they didn't even give rice or anything else. It was just a fish up north.
It was just a fish.
Just the fish. I can't make this up.
Escravish or something? Was it escravish or whatever?
No, it was a snapper.
Was it snapper?
Fried snapper. Savagery. And I was like, and you know, you looking like, so there's no condiments. There's like nothing that comes along with this.
Oh man, I had to stop my wife from fighting this Jamaican place recently because it was kind of like, okay, they have this Jamaican style food, but they kind of mirror it to what's that thing? Chipotle style. So you can kind of pick and choose different elements to kind of mix into that. Mm-hmm. So he asked, "Do you want a plate of the rice bowl or the pita? Not the pita, but it's kind of like I guess the Trinidad's called the roti, whatever." Mm-hmm. She says, "I want the plate." I don't know what ended up being. It was weird because they just gave us the plate and she didn't get no starch or nothing. And she was about to fight this guy. It was just a young kid, like 15, maybe like 14. He's like 15, 16. He had no idea what was going on. He's just serving what the people asked for. But it's just the way it was. You don't get anything. It's like if you either get the rice when you said plate in Black people's mind, the plate comes with stuff.
Exactly.
That plate did not come with stuff. It just came with the protein. She was mad. She was starting having. I had to pull her to the side. Sorry, sir. like it's what it is. She made her decision. We'll move on. It was just a bad plate, and we never went back.
Yeah, the experience.
Like, she's like, you dare you give me a plate? Like, yeah, you asked for a plate, ma'am. Like, I did the damn shit. It's getting loud. Like, getting real loud.
It's like when you think about it, hey, I want a plate. You're not thinking that plate is coming just with a piece of chicken. You're thinking, okay, we might have some veggies, we might have a starch, and then we have the protein. Maybe it's smaller. It's not necessarily like one of those box things, but so you're just gonna try me with like a piece of meat?
Oh man, she was so pissed, and the price was even like as higher. So it was just weird. I just like, hey babe, I'm paying for this. Move on.
And that's how I felt because my friend, we were all in different like little caveats of the market, and she went to a place and literally they didn't take card. I know it's like a vendor thing, but it's like, come on, guys, you are outside Boston on a weekend. For you just not to take card, you're already losing money. And you guys may not know, but I'm a business consultant. This is what I do. So when I get into these areas, like all the things that are going wrong is like red mark, red mark, red mark. So I get there, it's like, there's no, okay, cash only. Fine, cool, whatever. I made sure we had cash or whatever. And they were like, oh, we could do Cash App. And so you know how Cash App has a little sign and it has your name. So like, what's the name? Oh, we don't have a name. We're like, no, there's no way that you can have a Cash App and not have the little number sign name. They're like, oh no, use the number and it works. And I'm like, but even with the number, I can make a mistake. He's just like, I looked at her, I'm like, I'm already ready to leave. But she's like, no, we gotta support. I'm like, all right. Then I don't know if you guys ever had doubles, but doubles are like really small. In like Florida, you can get doubles for like $3-4 at like a Trinidadian restaurant anywhere. We got 2 doubles and 1 patty, and it was $35.
God damn it. I would have fought him. This is why I don't do it here. I just don't do it. You can't catch me slipping like this, man. Well, there's sometimes, if you catch me in the moment, and I'm already gonna give the cash that one time, I'll just never ever come back. Like, you've lost my business for life. Like, I won't speak. And if I don't talk about you on social media, I don't share anything, that's because I hate you. I want you to fail. Like, very much. I don't want anything from you. The fact that you cannot, I would have been mad.
We walked away and it was just like, and she like, lovely, don't tell the story. It's dead. I'm like, it's not dead. I got a whole week of telling everybody the story until it's out of my system, because my biggest thing is just like, we want to support businesses. Now, I'm not even gonna say Black business, just businesses in general, small businesses, but you guys have to make it better for us to support. I understand that, yes, you don't want to get the fees, but if you don't want to get the fees, do the math of the fees. You can literally factor those costs in your pricing. But don't surge us. Not only were you not getting the fees, but we paid for 2 little doubles, like, I mean the little doubles, and 1 patty thing, and it was $35. It's like, this is highway robbery.
All right. You know how we got here. Let me first of all, let me turn this around.
Sorry, guys. We could go on a rant. We really did.
While we got here, we basically wanted to share with you guys that we're in different locations, and that's why you probably hear kind of sound differences, and we're working on that. So we're listening to the critique, we're listening to the hate mail. We got you. We are poor people. We're trying to get it together. Please give us some grace, like so we could get the right, whatever mix, and at some point we'll be rich. But it's all good. But at least at this point, we don't have the same space, so therefore we're operating at different sound levels. On top of that, I guess we got into this episode. I guess at this point we're talking about like let's call this episode something like what's good about living in different spaces, like the positives, and also hey, bad business practices. I don't know. Let's turn that thing around. But ultimately, when we talk about like food, especially Caribbean food, you're gonna find a lot of passion. That's the first thing. You're gonna find a lot of this. Like, I went to and I posted on my Twitter, because I want that smoke. I talked about it. Like, I went to a Nigerian spot. I got their Jollof. I thought it was meh. It was pretty much mushy. I could taste what it is. It's tomato paste rice. That's all it really is. It's not that special. Y'all got like songs off of it. Y'all got like a battle with the Guyanese off of this stuff. Y'all battle back and forth. And I'm not quite sure what y'all battling for. It's kind of like battling over plantains. Like it's the same plantain. It's just plantain. Chill the hell out. Like it's not that serious. And I put that out there, and I'm gonna have a whole episode talking about jollof rice because I want the Nigerian smoke. That's all.
Lawrence said he wants the whole smoke.
I want them to fight me on it. Like I really want to
jollof, so I can't even critique it. Can't give you feedback.
Go have jollof, and you're gonna be like, "This is it. This is what you guys are killing each other for." I'm pretty sure there was a civil war for this. So like,
I'm telling you, and it's always
it's not that simple.
Nigerians versus Ghana. But what I really heard is that Senegal has the best jollof rice. And reality is the reason why they don't talk about it is because they're like, there's nothing to even compete for. That's what we heard.
So this makes sense.
Just to let y'all know.
There was a girl that got really pissed off at me on I guess in the DM and IG about this whole post thing, right? And she was getting at me, and I'm looking at her, why is she so mad? Like, you're Senegalese. Like, what's your beef in this product? But she was kind of like trying to say, have you tasted other foods in the diaspora? I'm like, chill the hell out. Have I tasted it? I went to North Africa. I went to like East Africa. I've tasted West African cuisine. Yeah, generally I have a taste for this stuff. I know what this thing is. I could tell you Asian food is at the top. Maybe the top three.
Haitian to be very honest with you. Tier.
Top three. It's top three. Tier. It's not even just, if I had to be unfair about it, it's top three. There's three. You could even easily drop addition there. Is top three. However, just to be, hey, friendly to everybody else, you got Haitian cuisine at number one. New Orleans Creole cuisine, which is damn near similar to Haitian cuisine, at number two.
Yeah.
And then you have Jamaican cuisine at number three. Trini people I don't know what they do. They could just, y'all copy Jamaican stuff. Sorry to say it. Sorry to let y'all know.
Canceled.
Sorry to. I appreciate it. Yeah, at this point we got
we're canceled.
Everybody that went to Carnival. Yeah, everybody went to
the last episode of the Financial Griot podcast.
It's like the Trini people about to go nuts. They're gonna dance their way to protest, Caribbean protest. Well, they're gonna get their queen, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is gonna tweet about me at some point. But ultimately,
this episode's gonna come back in like 2 years.
Bite me.
Bite us. We're gonna be doing a live podcast recording and some
apologizing. I'm gonna be apologizing, like the fake apology. I'll
be on Fox News.
I'll be on Twitter.
The hand on your head.
I apologize for what I've said, what I've stated. Jollof is a national dish. It should not be stated like some BS. Reading off a script, everything. But ultimately, I say all of this to say that different cities do have their different form of food, cuisine, and their different pluses, especially for like world cities like DC. Even though the price is high, there are also a lot of free stuff. And that's exactly what Lovely was talking about in Boston, that you can literally go walk around and you're living in the museum itself. So if you go around DC, there's the museums, the Smithsonian museums, they're all free. You could go to different locations, take photos at the monument. So you're paying for these luxuries in and of itself of living in this city. So yes, the cost of living might be a little higher there, but at the same time, the cost of your income coming in is also as high. So it's not just that you're losing just at the cost of living and the expense side. On top of that, there's weird things, and I actually pulled it up. I'm not gonna name the name. I don't want to put them out there that bad, right? I did want to steer to this thing. This restaurant, a Caribbean restaurant, is Trinidadian. That's as much as I would say about it. Like, we went there and they're trying to make it more like an upscale DC living. So I'm gonna tell you right now, how much do you think an oxtail plate is?
I'll go for 20, 25.
Pretty much is $20. That's these oxtail served with jasmine rice and cucumber salad. The veggie is 14. The Trini Chinese style chicken is 15. And it's a small plate. It's not really, it's a small plate. It's not what you're thinking. It's like half rate. It's a small. It's our version of a small, which is like their main dish. Oh. Then you got the curry beef and chicken, 16. And you basically slopped in there. But ultimately, even the chicken wings, and that should give you, I think it's like 5 chicken wings for $12. Straight up. 5 chicken wings for $12. By the time you finish eating the chicken wing, the moment is done. And you're right, the double, oh, they got the doubles over here. It's $6 though.
And we got 3 for $35.
Boston. Oh, never mind. You know what? I'm gonna leave that to y'all, Boston. I'm gonna leave that to y'all. So yeah, snapper. Yeah, they don't gonna put the number on there. The Escovitch thing, they're not gonna put the number.
You know it's gonna be high. Seasonal price.
Yeah. Seasonal price is my behind. The oxtail grilled and marinated. They call it the plate for $22. There's the oxtail. I guess there's 2 oxtails. There's like a very small bowl, and then there's also like those 3 pieces of meat and a very small bowl of rice. And that's your oxtail for $22. Get right, man.
You guys can't see me shaking my head, by the way.
Get right. Get fit out here. So there are pluses and minuses of living in a big city. Pluses being that you can get around, especially for kids. Like I used to go around with my little cousins in Miami. It is sacrifice on tilt. You go to the movies with like 5 kids, you spend at least $80, like on food, drinks, whatever. And at the end of the day, they're gonna look at you, they're gonna stare at you with their beady eyes and say, "We're hungry." Like, how? I fed you popcorn. You should survive. And then there was a time, I think it was when they were really kids, because I used to go around and pick them up all the time and take them to like the Children's Museum. I get there. Well, first, we used to go to like IHOP or stuff like that. And the ladies would be like, "Oh, that's your kids?" I'm like, "Nah, that's not my kids." It's like, that's so
what
nice.
We hear here, we're going to take a pause. Law was pimping out these kids.
No, I was not pimping them out. They just say, "Oh, it's our kids." And the kids was like, "I love you." And all that stuff is all good. It's all great. Then everybody hit you with the, it's cool. Then I brought them to the museum, the Children's Museum. I paid probably $120. And I looked at myself and I looked at them and was like, "Do I get a discount for being a veteran?" Nope, no discounts or nothing. And then when the lady says, is this your, this your beautiful kids? The little girl said, "Excuse me, he is not my daddy. He's not our dad. He's just a cousin."
Man.
I'm like, "Man, it's on me. I just dropped all this cash. Damn, just let me ride out. Let me get a moment." You don't know the difference.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Matter of fact.
He is not our father. I'm like, this is why I don't take you nowhere. I'm like, you know what? It's cool. But ultimately, if you're in DC, you can take your kids anywhere pretty much for free, minus the food. So if you're smart, you feed them when before they leave, you make sure they use the restroom. You go out there, you enjoy the day. Hopefully, if you're lucky, you get them back in the car, you shuttle them back over there, feed them again, and let them use the restroom back at home.
Yeah, those cities are just really beautiful. There's just so much. Like I have like a list that I have on my phone. Anytime somebody say I'm visiting, I just shoot that list over. There's just too much to do, and and again, like Lauren said, that there are things that you can do that don't cost you. And I think this is a caveat to something that we can actually get into and give it some context. It's like there's a lot of us that are saying that luxury has to mean spending, but the fact that now there's a little bit more leeway with remote working, people have a little bit like those quote unquote times that you were commuting back and forth, you do have a little bit more time. Try to do something in your city. That's one thing I'm challenging myself coming into the rest of 2021 and entering 2022 is to do things that allow for interactions. And I met 2 new people. I'm literally going to be at a virtual event because I met somebody new, and as well as going out to coffee. A lot of times we're thinking that we have to spend, right? And there are so many luxuries that you can find in your local cities. So go ahead, figure out what museums are around, figure out what you're into. Like if you haven't been kayaking, add that to your list. There's beautiful hikes that you can take. There's just so much that you can do without necessarily always having to spend. And I think that's something that we need to relearn, that you can have a great time. And like Lauren said, you can just eat before you leave. And some of these things, you just go experience them and then come back home, and it costs you nothing but taking 2 hours out of your schedule, but you're outside, you're feeling better about life, and you get to be inspired. For me, being in a city like Mass and Boston, there's an inspiration that comes along with just seeing how they took old buildings and added like new skyscrapers to them, and just seeing like an evolution of a city coming around, and it inspires me. So I get back to the week feeling like, oh, I can do my dreams, I can do something. And sometimes you just want to relax. Sometimes you just want a good stroll. So my thing is, find whatever you can in your own local city, with your children, with your friends, with your homeboys, and explore. And I think there's something to be said about how like, oh, that's nerdy. Like, what are you talking about, museums or this, that, and the third? Give yourself some new context. Try. You'll be surprised how you like it.
Yeah, I think that's well said, because a lot of people don't really know what they like until they kind of, tried it out. And a lot of times, because we're not necessarily familiar, or maybe we didn't have the environment around us that allow us to try things, we kind of just laugh at it and we laugh it off. But sometimes I look at people like, if only they knew who they really were, right? Like the person that they could be, the pure joy they can have, the type of lifestyle they can really live, that's going to really kind of like add more value to them. It'd be shocking to them to be who they really are. Because some people I hang around with sometimes, and I look at them, it's like, hey, if you only knew, you don't have to go to the club to be fulfilled. Especially when I see, I be at the club with people, like I see you at the club too. You're not really having a great time. You're there. Maybe you put on all the makeup. Maybe you got dressed up, but you're so stuffy. You can't really move. You can't really sweat. You can't really do anything. So what is the point of that? And that's why I kind of stumbled on salsa, whereas I was trying something new. And the majority of the salsa community is not about the look. Like establishing the look is not as important as, are you enjoying yourself dancing? Yes, eventually you get to a certain style and swag about you, and you add that to your, pizzazz per se. But 9 times out of 10, it starts off with just learning how to dance. And sometimes it's making those mistakes, making those errors. And that's really what's getting to these different cities taught me. You have to make the error. You got to try foods that you never tried before. And sometimes you realize, hey, maybe it's not that good. And sometimes you just figure out, oh, maybe this is dope as hell. I tried some Ethiopian food. I didn't really kind of like catch the vibe of it, but there's some of my friends, they completely die off of this stuff now. They're like, I got to go get me some Ethiopian. So you never know what food or brand you could get into. And even though it might not be Jollof, right? Maybe that's not your style. Maybe that is, maybe that isn't. Hey, I said to myself, maybe I'm not really a Jollof type of guy. I get it. It is what it is. But doesn't mean that I don't like, some other type of cuisine that's out there as well. So it's always good to kind of branch out, push forward, and try new things, and leave your environment or leave your city for a weekend. Go to the next city over, trying to figure out that city. I'm from Miami originally, and I tell people that all the time. Like, there's parts of Miami I never knew about. To this day, there's parts of Miami I really don't know about, but because we don't take the opportunity to just travel around and really get to interact with people, we miss out on really getting to know our own city. So DC, if you're Boston, if you're New York, go around different areas that your friends don't recommend to you because they don't know about it. Maybe you're the one that's going to end up recommending those locations to them.
Yeah, we went last winter to this place that's about an hour and 45 minutes from us in Mass into New Hampshire. And we actually went to, there was like this horse sledding thing. It was really, really cool. We got to see these ice sculptures, and I've been sending people pictures. I'm like, you just moved here. Like, I've never even knew that this existed. I'm like, they come here every winter. Like, this has been going on for years, but it just to show you how you can literally be in a place. And here's the thing about how we talk about environment, like, oh, you need to change your environment. Sometimes it's like, you need to change your approach in your environment. So sometimes you need to be in the same place, but have a different thought process about the place and be willing to say, I'm going to be uncomfortable. Because I think what happens is that we don't want to go to some place that we do not know. And it kind of gives anxiety. And I had to call myself out, because I'm just telling myself, I don't like playing like riddles. Like, I just don't, because I'm like, okay, they be going over my head sometimes. And I'm just like, I'm more like analytical and other things, like creative stuff. But I realized that playing them though kind of triggers another part of your brain. And so that difficulty of figuring out what the answer is actually a good thing. It's your brain being uncomfortable trying to make out. So I think actually it was Lawrence's wife, Doreen, that brought it up at one of our team meetings, because we do like these icebreaker things. And so now we were going on the little road trip this weekend, and Marie's like, oh, let's play these riddles. And I'm like, I don't like riddles. Y'all know I don't like riddles. But guess what? I don't have to like it to play it. And it just continues to trigger your brain, and it makes your brain uncomfortable so that you can kind of figure out like, oh, they were trying to trick me in that question. And so now I'm realizing that sometimes it's because we're not actively listening that we didn't, that's what's going over my head, because my brain is like all over the place. So I'm like, man, I wonder what area in other areas in life that things are going over my head, but it's not really going over my head. It's because I'm not listening well. So it's like a quick card game, but essentially it triggered something different. I may not like it, but now I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna always, when we're going on a long ride, we did questions before, like random questions to learn about each other, but now we're doing riddles, and we've been playing Jeopardy in our little company meeting things as well. And these things are good because it allows you to kind of think differently, put you in a different brain space. And I think when we're like always on social, always reading the same things, that's why we're not growing, because nothing challenges us. So for me, it's just like, let's go ahead and do things and experience things that challenge the way you are. And I think that's how you have a rich life. Like, you are quote unquote, and I was listening to Steve Harvey and he said something. He's like, after you sit in first class, every time you pass it, you're like, these economies look weird. They don't feel the same. Because you had that experience. And it's like, because you had that experience, your brain starts to think, well, how can I always be in first class? Maybe I can use my credit card, and maybe you don't have to pay for first class all the time, but you might have points where you can upgrade your seat and have a different experience. Your brain starts to figure out, how do I have these better experiences? So sometimes go to a hotel. You don't have to stay in it. Just sometimes go in the lobby. Nobody's gonna tell you anything. You can sit there and just be in that space and that vibe. Go to a place that's like a nice restaurant, and maybe you can only get the salad, and that's fine. Get the salad. Just experience these different things, and it gives you a taste and a palate for something different, and it challenges your perspective. And you might realize, it's not for me. I don't care for it. But you also may realize that it is for me, and I want to be able to create a life. Go tour homes that maybe are a little bit outside your pay rank or your capacity. Dream a bigger life, but smell it. Be around it. And maybe in that, it'll inspire you to figure out, like, how do I create and design a new life that I want? And maybe you want to live and be a farmer and own a land. Go visit a farm. I don't know what you're into, but expose yourself to different things. And I think it'll allow you to be able to design and create a life that you want.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot of things. I'm starting to actually get back to actually writing notes when I listen to somebody, because then you can kind of get to that, that good. It's a good habit to have in order for you to start really listening to what they're saying, and also note-taking wherever it actually matters. I think one of the stuff you talked about, and you kind of brought it in, to get these inspirations, it doesn't have to necessarily be expensive, but definitely look into your local restaurant week. They typically have it maybe once a year, where you can actually get three-star or three-course meals. That's what they are, three-course meals from different restaurants for a very relatively cheap price. So in like DC, typically like the lunch or brunch special is like $22 for a person, and you get three kind of like different dishes, like your light, medium, and also your dessert. Then you also get for dinner is around like $35. So every city has one. I know Miami has one, New York has one, Boston has one. A lot of these cities typically have one, to basically trying to garner more people to go to those restaurants. And I found some amazing restaurants in DC because of that. And exactly what Lovely was saying, the fact that I was in DC, since like 2014, and I was going around places taking photos, and people was like, oh, I've never been there. And they've been there like a lot longer than I have been. They're like, I've been here for 5 years. I never tried this. I never known this existed. I'm looking at them like, did you ever try to leave your home? Or, everybody always recommended one place to go. Did you go to Ben's Chili Bowl? I'm like, yeah, I see it. It's all right. It's just chili. Like, there's a lot of other places you could go. But every time that you get to somebody that's been living here, did you go to Ben's Chili Bowl? Because that's all they've ever known. So instead of being like everybody else, I tried to go to different things, the farmers markets, the other experiences that you talked about, to just check it out. And you find that it might be something that you love. Another thing about what you said is the idea that some things go over our heads, right? And recently I watched a special, The Closer by Dave Chappelle, which has been getting a lot of like smoke this week. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I'm 20 minutes in, but last night I had to go.
Okay, I'm not gonna give it up to you. Like, in the first 2.5 2/3, not 2.5, but 2/3 of the entire special. I didn't think it was the strongest that he's ever been. But the last part, the last 1/3, magnificent. And in totality, when you think about like the last part being that good, it goes back to the title, The Closer. He closed it, you know what I'm saying? And I think the first half now, or first 2/3 become so much more significant because it went over our heads. Half the time when people are saying maybe he's not that good, maybe that joke didn't land, majority of the time because that joke didn't land because the audience themselves has changed and they're not thinking, they're not processing information as fast as they perceive themselves to be. We're into the shock value now. We're listening to the news, the things we see in IG. So the audience is not as smart or savvy as we used to be. We're dumbing ourselves down. And that's like the genius of what he's saying. Is it within those words, within the shock value that he's dropping, is the genius about how he said it as going over our heads. And I think that's part of what I'm learning in 2021, going into 2022 and beyond, is you literally have two ears to listen. You have one mouth to speak. So the idea is that you have to start listening a lot more attentively. You need to start watching a lot more. You need to start understanding and breaking it down, or even slowing things down enough to appreciate them for what they are. Am I saying that he's not abrasive to different communities? I'm not saying that's not what it is. But did you understand what he was trying to go for? Did you understand what he's trying to say? Even inside of it, he even breaks down and says, hey, my gripe with society is with this group. He made it plain, clear, and simple. But yet people said, no, he's attacking that other group. And everybody's looking around like, but he's even in this entire moment, he even told you who the group that he had the issue with, like emotional frustration, traumatic frustration with this group. He's been saying this for the last 30 years of his experience. I don't think people have been listening, and that's why he's the closer. He closes better than he starts off because in totality, he's been telling you this entire life story and you haven't been listening. So I think that's part of this thing that I'm learning nowadays. I know we talked a lot, we ranted on about different things, but the goal here is to tell you the stories that matter and hopefully get you some perspective that you could change your life, your understanding as it relates to finances, mental relationships, physical, I guess getting yourself physically fit, healthy, and capable to engage in this world that we live in, and not just to be a passerby. And that's why that's why I do what I do. And why do you do what you do, Lovely?
Pretty much the same, like lessons so that people can be able to imagine and design their life. I was telling my friend that yesterday, that I was sitting back and thinking, what is the message? What is the thing that I want to leave into the world? I talk a lot about business. I talk about a lot of spirituality and becoming a better person. The biggest message is that your life does not have to stay the same. Like in this moment, like you're listening to this podcast, and we like to joke a lot. We like to do a lot of banter, but if you notice, we close really well. We always do that. That last bit of the podcast is always fire. Always.
The closers.
The closers. We always come in, like we refine ourselves. We get all that toxicity out, and then we always come back with something solid. And I think the message and exactly what Lawrence is saying was that a lot of things need to marinate. A lot of things need to be thought through. And if there's one thing that I do want to leave to this world and in this world, is that you don't have to stay the same, and you do not have to let anything in your past dictate your destiny. I think those key things, because there's so much things that I could have done better. I should have done better. But baby, it's October 9th, 2021. That's when we're recording this. I'm sure you're not listening to it at this point. But at that, in this moment, that whatever's in my life that I feel that's broken, that's not equal, that's not whatever, I can change it. I think too many people live in regret because they never decided to make a different move, because something in their minds and their hearts told them that it's always going to be this way. Like you could be dating a trash person right now, let them go so that you can experience real love. You can be at a crazy job, stressful manager, whatever, but you can start school if you're 45 and literally change your career and live the second half of your life way better than the first. The best days are not behind you, they're ahead. That's the message. Like, you can choose, you can grab whole, like you can come across a neighborhood finance guy, 15 years to be an automatic millionaire, and I've just wasted the last 35. Yeah, you can do that. You can really, in that moment, make a decision to become different, to do different. You're just one decision away from it. And it's literally like the message that I want to share with people, because I think so many of us get stuck. I was that person that I had felt like after college, I didn't know what to do. And it's like at 23, you felt like your life is over. Like, what kind of thinking, what kind of toxicity, what kind of negative thought process was that? When there are some people, they wake up at 40. They got that aha moment, and they changed their trajectory. Look at Tabitha Brown. She was talking about how it took her 15 years to get her moment. She's New York best-selling author, #1. And she's been on this journey for over 15 years. And just in the pandemic, one of her carrot bacon videos went completely viral, changed the course of what she wanted to be an actor. She wanted to do all these things. 15 years. And her moment came. What about you? Are you going to give up? Are you just going to keep telling yourself the same thing? Well, my mom and dad, you know what they did to me, my friend that, shut up. Be still. In this moment, I can have something different. Stop the negative talk. You may not move to a mansion tomorrow. You may not be riding a fancy car, but life-changing, that's available to everybody. I truly believe that. So that's why I do podcast recording. That's why I started a consulting firm. That's why I want to see more business owners not go from not even paycheck to paycheck, invoice to invoice, but really learn that, yes, the first couple of years are hard, but if you keep on the journey, you can unlock something that you can leave to your children. You can use some of your funds to invest to become better. You can change the trajectory of a whole lineage because of the decisions that you make. Like, I don't think we understand that. Like you, Lawrence, like literally are creating a whole different legacy for your family, a whole different one from your narrative already. Your children won't, like the things that you went through, your kids they're not gonna know that.
Oh, they're gonna be bougie as heck. Bougie.
They're not gonna know that. They're gonna be out here eating ramen, okay, but not ramen noodles. Ramen, okay? They're gonna be out here just being
gentrified ramen.
Because of the decisions that him and his wife are making. But Lawrence is not an anomaly. He's not the exception. Lovely's not an anomaly. Atlanta's not an anomaly. Like, these are decisions. So I know that was long-winded, but that was to wrap up to say, we do this so that you can have your aha moment. And maybe it's going to take you episode 98. It might take you episode 98. It might take you episode 100. But we hope that when you listen to the Financial Griot, that if something is clicking in your brain and your heart, that instead of faking it, instead of telling people that I'm okay, I actually can become okay. I actually can become good. And it's going to switch. So keep listening, keep taking notes. I think we're wrapped up in this episode. We did really good.
Oh, hey, I'm going to wrap it up, but I do want to kind of give us a little bit of shine because I don't think we give ourselves enough shine.
Oh, we're going to get shine.
Yeah. In this situation, I think this week, I believe on October 8th, we were actually featured on All Star Money, a Motley Fool's service. Motley Fool's is a very reputable financial newsletter, news reporting and podcasts and all that good stuff. So they've always been around. We've been featured through the resident curator, Marcus Garrett, who hosts his own award-winning show, the Marcus Garrett Show. Basically, he has the opportunity to review different podcasts and kind of like select them and actually share them out to the audience. And he picked us as number 2 for October 8th. So the first one being Women, Money, and Power with Kathleen Burns. Kingsbury is a podcast. And the second one being ourselves, Black Luxury Spending, Wealth, and Debt, Pay My Trip, that episode podcast. And ultimately, the last one is here. It says, Using Side Hustles to Fund Real Estate and Build Wealth with the Frugal Gay podcast with Lauren Keene Almond. So adulting from Adulting Made Easy. So there's a lot of different opportunities that are available for us. So I'm happy that other people are checking us out, sharing what we've been doing, what we've been talking about. And like you said, taking the time to really listen to it, because I think this is the kind of thing that changes lives. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I've been hearing a lot of great things, and we've been hearing a lot of great feedback, even though one of them is like, hey man, get yourself a better mic. It's all good, hater. It's all good. Unless you want to give us like some money, cash app us. How about that?
Cash app us.
Like, I don't take criticism. I take it poorly. I'm like, man,
we thank you though. We thank you for real for letting us know. We're really working on the mics. Atlanta out here just caking, so we can't even sync the mic. So blame it on Atlanta at this point, because me and Law Bent had the Yiddy, whatever they call this.
You're changing everything up, like what would I say? Everything. Like I was Trini. Yeah, I guess we've gone too far. Okay. Yeah, that's when you got to wrap up this damn podcast.
But before we go, since we're giving ourselves kudos, I'll let you guys know. So all the top 10 cities that have been listening to us, countries, not cities, because I don't think we have the cities, but we do have the countries. So of course, United States, because we're here. Japan, shout out to Japan.
Coming through.
Yeah. And then we have somebody in Spain listening, and France, Germany, the Philippines, United Kingdom of Great Britain and North Ireland, Canada, and we do have somebody who's listening in Nigeria. So when we get like a 3-star rating or a 1-star,
it's like
we know
that one guy or girl in Nigeria is about to get real mad about this Jollof comment.
It's about to be crazy. And the Republic of Angola. Angola.
Yes, right? Angola. Yes, Angola. I think is it the only landlocked country in Africa? I want to say, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. On where Angola is in the map. I'm gonna have to get myself a map again and start checking that thing out.
Yeah, especially I'll be traveling again.
I know the capital of Angola is Angola.
Yeah.
Oh no, capital of Angola, Luanda. Never mind. I don't think it's the right place I'm talking about. See, sometimes you really, slow it down, go to your Google Maps, check it out, because we don't know exactly where all these places are. I think we've gone to the point where a lot of people have no idea where anywhere is in the world. So it's okay to kind of use your Google Maps and check it out. Right. Angola is not the one that's landlocked. Angola is actually south of the West Africa. They're probably closer to us, Gabon, whatever. Landlocked one would be Botswana. It's a little bit underneath it, so it's kind of close. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of no. This not the landlocked one. The one that's truly landlocked is Lesotho. Lesotho is actually completely inside South Africa, which is hilarious. Like your entire country is inside another country. It's crazy. You may as well be South Africa.
Yeah, but, let's be one here. Let's be one.
Like this just be South Africa, man. You just be another state. It's cool.
Man.
No problem. But ultimately, I'm definitely gonna check out my map. And at one point I definitely want to visit more of the continents, beautiful views and stuff like that. But a lot of times the prices are just more expensive, and that's why I'm necessarily not there as much as I want to. Well, that's a little bit too much information, and we've gone beyond the rant, beyond the moment. And thank you for your time and information. You can find me at the www.theneighborhoodfinanceguy.com. It's available. It's free information. It's good information. Share, follow, subscribe, and tell your friends. And what about yourself, Lovely?
You can find me on IG, Lovely Merdelus. It'll be in the show page notes because I have to be nice. So you guys can always find me there, and you can connect with everything that I'm doing on my IG. I'm actually getting a complete rebrand, so that's pretty dope. Gonna be, it's time for me to step my game up in terms of being a brand, as they would say. And I'm ready to share my story more and help more people. So you guys will get some more updates. Talk to you guys soon.
Cool. Thanks again, everybody, and talk to you guys. Peace.
Deuces. Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.